Here we are working on the camper again Saturday. So last week we got this all molded. This week I'm going to take all this off and chemically treat it and get going on that. It's 56 degrees here. We're going to try our luck with the tooling gel. We're going to spray it anyway. It doesn't look like tomorrow's going to be any better next week, so I'm going to strip all that off of there and get that ready to be laminated. Got the plastic off. See that flange there? If you've seen the other videos, you've seen us removing these flanges to create the mold. If you want to know what those are for, go ahead and watch the other videos. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off. Like I said in the other videos, when you're molding to a flange, never come underneath here because you're going to lift, go in here to separate. And then this thing is very flexible. So in the other videos, you can see why we made it out of fiberglass. We went from steel to fiberglass to fiberglass. So I'm going to go ahead and get those removed and then show you the seam and explain to you again that the seam is new material and it needs to be chemically treated for releaser. This has all been treated for releaser or with releaser. But a common mistake is when somebody pulls that, they don't realize that there's new material that hasn't been treated. Check this out for a minute. So originally that flange, I made it out of steel. I don't know if you've seen that video or not, but that was made out of steel, and then I molded it and molded it back into fiberglass. And here's the reason why I kept telling everyone in the videos that I want this to be very flexible. You see how flexible that is? It flexes away from it instead of disturbing the molded surface, which is right here. So that's why I didn't use a steel beam that I had originally welded up for that, because I don't want to disturb the surface and pop this mold prematurely. I want to just get that flange off of there. I pulled that flange off there, and this is the surface I'm talking about. This green surface is new. It needs to be treated with releaser. It seems like it's a really common thing that you would understand, but believe it or not, people overlook that constantly. Like, okay, this has been treated with releaser. They forget to treat that. So I got to treat all that stuff. I got to get the other flange off there. But there's some bleed through there. That'll be fine. Pretty nice mold so far. You see how I have all this debris here? This stuff. Whatever you do, I just want to remind everyone again, do not get air near this. Don't blow that off if you're making a mold, a two-piece mold like this. No, not even, like, don't even entertain the idea of like, oh, I'm really good with an air hose. I will just go pish, 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 pish. You never know. You could pop that, get some air shot under there and pop that up, and it just ruins everything. I've seen it happen a lot. People will think that, oh, I can just go in here and just lightly air that off. Don't risk it. Just get yourself like a little brush, a chip brush, and brush it off, and then use a paper towel. See all that stuff? I'll fill all that tooling marks back in with some wax again. All right, I'm gonna get it all cleaned up and get some releaser on it. We're making our stiffeners to keep the mold from moving. So I got everything all cleaned up and treated. I'm gonna put some wax in that real quick, getting our stiffeners in there. You gotta be careful with this stuff. I've seen a lot of people that don't know what they're doing making videos, and I'm not being condescending or trying to be a jerk, but there's some people out there that they basically just watch a video and then they go make a video. So be careful of the information that you get. Some of it I've seen is pretty bad. And even in the industry, like, I just got done doing a bunch of work for a company where they had this guy that was supposed to be this big wig dude who was like an engineer from an aircraft company, and he couldn't even properly treat a mold. He got his part stuck in the mold, and that's like the dumbest thing you can do if you've been doing it for as long as we've been doing it, or as long as he said he's been doing it. He couldn't even use the chemical releasing agents properly. But man, that guy will tell you everything you need to know about it. He acts like he knows everything, and at the end of the day, like, he can't even get a part to release out of a mold. So be careful with the information that you get on this stuff, because a lot of it'll cost you a lot of money and material when you're done. You're gonna go down the wrong road with somebody, and you're gonna end up with a bunch of material stuck to a plug. So yeah, if you want to see the releasing agents, the videos before this, there's the waxing where we use the wax. I show you what kind of wax. It's the Partall brand. It's the simplest way to do it. There's chemical releasers that you can use too. If you're just starting out, I recommend using the Partall wax. All right, I got the tooling gel sprayed on the front and the back of it now. And we're gonna go to lunch and come back and laminate this with 1 layer of 1.5 ounce mat and 3 layers of 3 ounce mat. Yesterday when we left off, we put our air ply on here. So we're gonna lightly sand it by hand. And then we're gonna put the 3 layers of 3 ounce fiberglass mat on there. We got in a hurry at the end of the day. So what we ended up doing is we ended up putting more layers of the 1.5 ounce on there. So we put 1 layer of 1.5 ounce, that's your air ply. Makes it really easy to get the air out. Then we put 2 more layers of the 1.5 ounce on there, so that equals 3. So we did get 1 layer of there, but the reason we did that is it's faster to put the 1.5 ounce on. It saturates faster, it conforms faster, it's more malleable. So we went that route. You can see our seams here. So actually there's about 2 layers of 3 ounce right there. Here's the disadvantage of doing that, the things that you'll risk if you do that. This can pre-release on you, so you'll get like a warp where the material will come off. It didn't do that to us, we got lucky. But if you're doing like a really big panel like this, never do that. That stuff, it'll shrink up and it'll delam and warp up on you, and it'll change shape of your part or your mold. So you can get away with it with stuff like this. The reason we felt comfortable doing it was because back here there are so many right angles, so it locks it up real tight. And then also this right here is just not even part of the camper. That's, I mean, you need it there, you can't just have a hole, but when we build parts, that's not even gonna be a part, it's just gonna be cut out. So yep, we're gonna go ahead and get our rest of our layers on there, getting our core stiffeners ready to go and stuff like that. All right, stay tuned. While I'm waiting for the layup guys to come and start wetting out material, I'm gonna put some registers in this to lock these 2 pieces together, because we're gonna be moving it around quite a bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and lock it together. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drill a 3/8 hole through this right here. And then when I put my bolt down, I'm not gonna use any impact tools or power tools, because the vibrations can still vibrate this loose, potentially vibrate the ends loose. So I'm just gonna put 3 in and tighten them down by hand. Okay, there they are, just the bolts drilled through the flanges, bolting this part and that part together. Not this part and that part yet, because we haven't finished the lamination for that yet. So you don't want to do any of this stuff until you have at least your air plies down, because if I would have drilled that before doing any of this, I might have released that. This is all just controlled chemical chaos, and everything can go wrong. Over the years, I've seen people be like, oh, I won't hurt if I just do this little thing, and it ends up like screwing so much stuff up by causing a pre-release or something like that, with having power tools near it, and running an impact gun to bolt these bolts down. But now that these 2 pieces are together, it's really comforting knowing that, because those are locked. Now when we get ready, I'm going to drill a bunch more holes and put a bunch of bolts down there. And then if you saw the flange that we built, I actually have a flange here. This is one of the flanges off the edge, and you can see the indentations. So when we put bolts through, those registers all lock together, and there's no way that thing's gonna not line up when we put those molds together, because of all of these little things. The bolts, the reason you want to do those registers is because the bolt holes, they'll aug out after a while, because they're it's fiberglass. And when you're in production with a mold, you'll use an impact gun to take those bolts out. It's just faster that way. And the hole will aug out, and then it won't line up properly anymore, and you'll end up with these 2 seams that kind of shift on each other. So make good registers when you put your flanges together. Well, there it is with the 3 ounce mat on it. It's all finished, laminated. Now we got to put our stiffeners in it. It was a long day. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. And we really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.